Hello friends and welcome back to our Dungeon Descent playthrough. Today we are going to crush it, we are going to finish it, and we are going to tell you our final thoughts on how the whole thing is. What does it do for the game? Is it good? Is it annoying to play? So far, I can say for sure that this method that I'm using will guarantee you rewards. It will absolutely guarantee you rewards. However, the price of those rewards is a great deal of time spent, and that's why I want to do another series on this. Not right away. I'm going to take a little break because you don't want too much Dungeon Descent right in a row on your channel. Trying to get through it with the minimal amount of completion is the goal, because you're going to get the same rewards no matter how much of it you're spending the time to clear. So you may as well try to get through it as quickly as possible. And so I'm going to do some stress testing and see how far we can go. Do I need to get 2 or 3 chests per level? Do I need to get 5? Once we have those answers, I think that Dungeon Descent is going to be much more fun, and it'll be something that feels maybe almost mandatory to do, because if you get down to that point, it's not going to take too long, and the intimacy deals that you can get from the Goblin are pretty worth it. Interesting, using a Strixbane here could be pretty entertaining, but I might pass on it. I will say that for the time taken now, I probably spent about 4 hours doing this entire run-through by the time we're through it. Of course, we have to keep in mind that during that time I was also making videos, so that does maybe increase the time a little bit, and I've also stayed dedicated to clearing literally everything in the dungeon, which you probably would not have done if you were in my shoes. If you were not specifically making a video testing that out, you probably would just skip ahead at this point. I feel like I don't even need to read these. In fact, for the blue ones, I have not read them at all. I've just been taking whatever I take, and and who cares? Perhaps the next video on Dungeon Descent will actually be not a series, but just one video. And that one video will be deciding my recommendation for the minimum number of treasure chests that you should be looking to get. And I feel like that's not the best way to measure your power. I think that's pretty obvious. But I do think that it's the sort of system you want to have. You want to know what that number is, so you can just do it like a robot and get it done, because eventually, let's be honest, eventually it becomes a chore. What's that? Did we call for the murder button? Nice. And I know that I don't need to be clicking on the trap squares, but the point is to click on every square, and that's what I'm doing. I know that I shouldn't, but I don't care, because I'm doing it my way. So the cons, in my opinion, are basically just that it takes so long. That's con number 1. And con number 2 is that the difficulty is, I mean, it's hard to balance, right? Because you can choose to put this much time into it, and then it's just easy. But everybody that I've seen talking about it has said that it's just way too easy, or they say it's way too hard, and I think then they're probably just trying to skip ahead. But let's talk about the pros. I think that it is actually quite fun. I'm very entertained by it, even though it takes too long. If it was a little bit shorter, I would be super happy to be playing it. So I think that's great. It allows you to try champions that you might not have gotten access to yet if you're not a big spender, especially some of the special clans that have released since launch. So that is also super great. It's also something that fills your time a little bit. Now, I don't know about you, but when I like a game, I want to be able to play the game. And there are times in games like these where you can't play the game anymore, usually because of a stamina bar. And we don't have to deal with a stamina bar, but what we do have to deal with is a wall that we hit where we can't kill enemies anymore. We're waiting for gold, essentially. Like, district management is important. We're waiting to get some more diamonds so that we can succeed that way. Aside from the extra free rewards that you're getting, this game mode solves that problem of hitting a wall and you can't play even though you want to be able to play. And yeah, we have a lot of other things to do, But you could almost look at this game mode as a time filler. I want to play the game. That's it. It's that simple. Are the rewards good? Yeah, I think the rewards can actually be very good depending on what you're grabbing. I think that if you're buying the intimacy rewards from the Goblin that I have seen, I don't know if they're there every time, but we're gonna look into that when we get to our shop this time. Yeah, I think those are great, and I think it's really helpful to just be able to play the game. Have something to do that's keeping the gameplay fresh and fun. So overall, I think the pros outweigh the cons. However, I think there are some improvements that could be made. So some of the improvements that I think that they could make are maybe a drafting system when you start, where you would get, I don't know, 2 blues, 2 purples, and a legendary. For each slot, you get to pick one of 3 characters. So you get to draft in a totally random team that you can then upgrade in the same way you do in the current runs by finding mythic people on the board. I think they should have less fights overall, and that would balance out the difficulty a little bit. It would keep you from getting too overpowered. And if you like clearing out the board, which some people do, I do. I wish it didn't take so long, but I like clearing out the board. So less fights would make that better in both of those aspects. It would tame the difficulty, and it would reduce the time taken. So I think both of those things would be great starts, great improvements. I also think that the little doubloons, or whatever I call them doubloons, I don't know what they're supposed to be called. The little coins that you get, if you could spend those to actually buy things outside of the Dungeon Descent game mode, then I think they would be doing themselves a huge service. Because they can make this game mode very fun and still have it take time. But you want to be able to buy some stuff at the end of it. You get some rewards, and they're not terrible rewards, but it feels like a waste in clearing it all. And if you could spend the doubloons in a way that you see fit, and you could actually be paid some value for your time investment, I think a lot more people would be inclined to play it for a longer period of time. And I don't think it would be too overpowered and cost them a bunch of money because people could do it. They might not reset it every other day. They might reset it, I don't know, after 4 days or something, because you get to go through it and spend more time in it. More people will want more time because they can buy better rewards. But I'm not talking about anything crazy. You know, let us buy a couple of wedding rings or bouquets or just something of that nature that's going to help us in general in our account. Remember, claim your reward from the treasure box on the ground. I love their quality assurance. I don't blame them. I don't know how big the team is. I have worked on apps before, and stuff slips through the cracks, man, especially when you're trying to do your best. So let's look at what we actually got here. We got some bouquets. We love those. That's awesome. Great reward. Got some wedding rings. Also awesome. Really love it. We got 20 of these orbs. These boxes are some of the best things in here. Unless you're a paid person. If you're a free-to-play account, these boxes are incredible. They're super good because we need those companions. Now, I don't think that they should let you, with your doubloons, buy any of the companions or whatever. I'm pretty sure I'm at the end of this. I don't need to buy any of this, but we're going to. So you can see I have almost 6,000 doubloons. I did have over 6,000 when we started this. Can I click on that to see what they're... Relic coins. Please change the name to doubloons. That's so much more fun. Relic coins. So yeah, I think you let me buy some ascension materials even, you know, buying green copies of things that are 3-star already. Maybe they cost 1,500 to buy one green 3-star, and I can only get 3 or 4 of them at the end of a run. Well, that's fine. But all of that time spent, now I feel much more rewarded. I still do. I mean, the wedding rings and everything, like I said, it's great. But it's not great if you're doing a full clear. There's no incentive to spend a lot of time in the game mode. And I think they could earn more for themselves in terms of player retention if they were giving you some sort of benefit for spending more time in the game mode. And it would also make it more fun. If they let you do a draft pick at the beginning, there were less enemies overall, more traps, actually. I think the traps are actually fun, and they get your attention into it a little bit. I think that's actually a good thing. It doesn't hurt too bad, but you want to clear them out right away, so I think that's good. Draft system, less enemies, more traps, and let us buy some small token with the extra relic coins that we have so that it is rewarding for us to put in the extra effort. Now, at the same time, if they do that, you might feel like you have to put in that extra effort, but I don't think it would be that bad. I don't think it would be such a good reward that you would feel like you absolutely had to finish the thing. That being said, I am going to do some science on this, and I'm going to find out how can I clear this as fast as possible, and how long does it take when I'm clearing it as fast as possible. So if you're interested in finding that information out, then I suggest that you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that video. And let's just see what we've got from our Goblin character here, because I think that he's one of the better aspects of this. On this last version, I only have an 80% discount on these earrings. I'm not going to buy that. But when it's a 90% discount, that is the best intimacy deal that you can get in the game. I kind of wish that it was just 90% all of the time. Maybe that's greedy, maybe that's too big of a reward, but you're paying diamonds for it. You're paying 200 diamonds per, and you're getting 200 intimacy from it. That's pretty good. I don't think it's wildly overpowered, but maybe they could tie that discount to how much you have cleared. Now, if they did that, that would be an incredible reward for having you actually spend time doing this dungeon descent. Maybe they already do, I'm not sure, but it's not 90% this time, and I cleared everything there was to clear. You come in here with 1,000 gems and you leave with 1,000 intimacy. I think people are going to spend the time for that, especially if they're hardcore players. It gives them more things to do in the game. That's a change they need to make, in my opinion. So if you've made it all the way through our dungeon descent adventure, this is my first full clear, and I appreciate you sticking through the journey with me. I had a lot of fun doing it, but for now, I have been Rage Panda 1, and I will see you in the next one.